Good morning, everybody. It's an early morning for me. Woke up about 2:30 this morning because I was watching an area of rainfall coming out models that were showing up, and now actually validating that on the radar picture. Had a heavy area of rain come out of northwest or northeast North Carolina, now into southern Virginia, and all this rain has been, for the most part, the past 2 days. It's been a very steady, very light rain. In fact, now it's actually dissipating a bit in Redwood where I'm at. But we do have still some embedded areas of heavier rains. So the concern is now, we've had a few days of rain to kind of gently soak into the ground, and all that's well and good. But if you get into these higher rainfall rates like we're seeing this morning, and the fact of the matter is we're coming up on the morning commute, I wanted to go ahead and get in here early and show you the radar picture and show you, at least bring to your attention, that there could be some flooded roadways and some flooding out there because the ground is slowly getting a bit more saturated, and it's raining pretty hard in some areas. So looking a bit closer in on the radar picture, and I do want to mention we do now have a flash flood warning out on the outskirts of our area for um, areas north of Raleigh, just south of Mecklenburg. So let me show you on Weather Tap where that is. First, I'll show you too. This is the comma head. This is on radar Omega. Pretty neat to see, but it's very easy to see the upper level low, but within that upper level low, you have this very strong disturbance that has come around here. And so we've got some dry air entraining into that low. But unfortunately, and I've been watching this the past couple of days, I said we'd have to watch Wednesday very carefully. Well, two things happened. Yesterday, we got more rain than really I thought we would. Still came down very gently, but it rained all day yesterday. To see that's pretty impressive. Still is. Usually the rain at least kind of breaks up from time to time. And now we're getting, you see there in the darker red, that's an area of enhanced lift. And so you've got spokes on a bicycle wheel, so to speak. And this is one of those spokes, one of the stronger ones, in fact, that's going through. We've had thunder and lightning. This is elevated because temperatures are only in the 50s, but up and above that cool air, all this moisture off the Atlantic hits that cool air and it rises and it creates these elevated storms. And these elevated storms are producing some very high rainfall rates, and flash flooding is occurring. So here's the flash flood warning in effect for Nash County in central North Carolina, Warren County, Advance County, Franklin County in North Carolina. And I mention that because some people are watching from outside of the area, but I'm also showing you this because this is from the direction from which the rain's coming from, okay? So I'll always look around different parts of the region and see where the weather's coming from so we're not caught off guard when it gets here. Um, the radar in Raleigh shows rainfall up to 2 to 3 inches in the past 3 hours. Streams and creeks are rising. Flash flooding is expected to begin shortly. Now, again, this is just to our south, north of the Raleigh area, but the same area of rain is now moving into our area. All right, so if you're down there, it's US 301 and Highway 56, that area. So you can see it highlighted there. But I did want to show you that enhancement there just to give you an idea of what's going on. And this is the radar picture. Now, the heaviest of rainfall is through, right now, through Bedford County, northern Franklin County. We've got some moderate rain in Floyd County. The rain it hits that cool air that's still in place, and it's cool across North Carolina as well, but it hits that cool air and it does dissipate somewhat. So that's the good news. It's not like a warm rain like what we had Sunday, and we had those 3 to 4 inch amounts coming in there. All the less, we are still looking at ground that is taking a lot of this rainfall, and you can see now a flood advisory out all the way up right up against the Virginia line here, south of Mecklenburg County and south of Halifax County. So I would be watching here because this area, central Virginia, has seen a lot of rain the past couple of days, if not the steadiest rain. So south of Lynchburg through Campbell County, Pittsylvania County, South Boston, Halifax, Clover, Charlotte County, Mecklenburg County, and maybe even into Smith Mountain Lake. This area has seen quite a bit of rainfall, and it will continue to see a lot of rain if the motion of this continues, and it looks like it will. Don't be surprised if we see some kind of street flooding and flooding of low spots, at least some minor flooding in that area. That's the Raleigh radar. This is the Floyd County radar, which is northwest of the Raleigh radar. So it picks up more of the same thing, but more detail here. And you can see that heavier rain through Floyd County. Now, Floyd's an interesting place because once you get up in elevation and you get some of these winding roads out there, you really have to watch for the overwash that can occur in situations like that. Also into Roanoke County now, and again, you're falling on now a very tender spot here. This line between Roanoke and Franklin County, this area, right up through Williamson Road and Vinton, in the Blue Ridge and into the Allegheny Highlands, but where it's fallen right now, this little area here cannot stand any more rain. I mean, we had a lot of rain falling here Sunday night, and it hasn't really stopped. It's let up some, but it hasn't really stopped. So this concerns me. Any areas that are in orange and red are somewhat concerning. Let me show you everything in motion and a little more clear picture of the heaviest of the rainfall. So it is coming around like a comma head here. So you can see it spiraling around. The main low is still off to the south, and you can kind of pick it up there north of Rockingham, North Carolina. Even that's an embedded lobe within the overall circulation. But it wraps around into just the general rainfall. So the good news is that as it moves into this, 53-degree air in the NRV, it is weakening somewhat, but it's still yellow. It's still some pretty good rainfall. You can hear it on your roof when you get into the yellows there. It's about 35 to 40 dBz. And heavier rainfall again through Campbell County. So let's look a little closer here. Alta Vista, Evington, some very heavy rainfall. Gretna, Halifax, South Boston, it continues to rain. And a lot of areas now are going, well, if you take away what happened Sunday night, most areas have about 1 to 2.5 inches of rain, but a lot of areas have 3 to 4 inches of rain plus, and especially where it rained the heaviest, you're over 5 inches of rain now. Here's a satellite view, and you can see the colors, they continue getting brighter here on the clouds, so this indicates to me that there's still a lot of energy. It may not be showing up on the radar just yet, but man, can you see that spiral down across North Carolina? So when you're close to the low like this, you have the energy a little stronger, and you can get some impressive lift here. What I'm watching is the development, the continuation to develop some of this heavier rainfall down across central North Carolina near Raleigh. It looks like it was training for a while, but it's starting to move north. It still has to pivot around though. So I would say for the morning hours, we still have to watch. We'll probably have the moderate rain going through about 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and then hopefully things will lighten up again like they did yesterday to more of a heavy drizzle, lighter rain for the rest of the day. But the low's going to sit here for another couple of days, and again, it could be on the heavy side at times, the rainfall there. So let me show you some of the computer model guidance that has come in since I've been here. This is the HER, so this is starting out about right now. And now we put it in motion. You can see how that heavier rain pivots through southwest Virginia. It may reach all the way back into Pulaski and Wytheville, so areas in the mountains there that have had a lot of rain too on Saturday especially, you may have some heavier rainfall today. Basically, with a rain event that lasts several days, it's the latest, the last of the rainy days is what you have to watch. So, by tomorrow and Friday, we'll start to see more scattered showers. It'll still rain at times. Today's the last really, really rainy day, I think. And so with the ground, getting more saturated each day, and you get closer to the low, the rain becomes heavier, the ground's more saturated. That's the critical day. So I'd say today's a critical day to watch, basically, for flooding. If it's going to flood, it may do it today. And again, it may not, but we'll have to see. This is throughout the morning hours, maybe a bit of a lull. And we've had that. We've had lulls where over the past couple of days it's been light, and then it picks back up again. And it will depend on exactly where the energy pops up. And, I don't think we're going to have any breaks of sunshine. But the model here is showing that by the afternoon, late afternoon, we've got some heavier rainfall, which could be falling from Richmond into Charlottesville and maybe even the Lynchburg area. And again, exact placement will be a key, but you've got more heavy rainfall that develop, maybe some elevated storms here through Southside. That's looking 24 hours from now. I wanted to look at the rapid update cycle with you here, and I'm looking at it as you are. It's got a pretty good handle on where the rain is now. that heavy band there continuing over south side. So really south of Roanoke to Danville to Rocky Mount, Stewart down through North Carolina. That's the area this morning that bears the most watching, in my opinion. Also south of Lynchburg down 29. As we go through the morning, we see persistent rainfall. So we may see some flood advisories. You're going to see those low spots that typically fill up with water, and the streams and creeks are definitely rising. So it may not be like a real bad flood, but you're going to have some high water out there, and you're going to have some areas where you want to turn around and take an alternate route, no doubt, especially if this continues. Now into the afternoon we go, and we see, again, new areas of rain that may be popping up by the afternoon and evening. So we may see a lull from time to time, but I've got to be honest with you. There were supposed to be some lulls yesterday, some breaks, and there really wasn't. This low has overperformed, in my opinion, in terms of just giving us just solid rainfall. And that's what this latest version, the 60 run of the, I'm looking now at the Canadian, and so it shows more rain through tonight. And I did want to show you this. Let's see, let me go. I've got so many tabs open. I come in at 3:30, and it takes me until 5 o'clock to get everything where I want it to go on the air. Sometimes I think I have too much data, too much love for data, but it's what I like to do. All right, so this is additional rainfall here through today and now through Thursday. So let me go through Thursday. This is not including Thursday night. This is one of the shrefs here. This is the NMB shref, and I really don't know what the different letters mean. There's two different shrefs. This is the N one. It's got about an average. You got to keep in mind these are averages. That's why the values are so kind of spread here. But about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain through today and through tomorrow. We can handle that. We can't handle more rain on top of that probably. And this is looking through now through Saturday, which will include those scattered showers and storms. You have numbers closer to 4 inches. Now you got to keep in mind this is on top of what we've already had. So we could have some problems out there. Not saying it's going to be really bad, but in some places it could get serious. I'm going to have to go here, states. They don't have Virginia, so I'll go to West Virginia because they have got Virginia in there. Look at the temperature still again today, only in the 50s. It's pretty incredible for this time of the year. Now, precip totals. This is off of the WRF. And I'll stabilize it here in just a second. Oh, this is through today and tomorrow. Additional rainfall near Danville of 2.5 inches. Additional rainfall of about 2.5 inches through the NRV. 1.5 to 2 inches through Franklin County and Roanoke. And again, you can't be too exact with the modeling here, but even in the highlands, another 2 inches seems somewhat reasonable. Upslope areas will enhance that. I'm just going through the different blends here. This is a blend of that same model, but we blended about 50 other ways, and you get this. Maybe up to 3 inches of additional rainfall. And again, this is more of, I like to look at these because you're going to not really see the exact attempted placement of the showers as they move in. This is more of a general outlook. But I'd say another 1 to 3 inches. That's what I told the town of Rocky Mount. I do private consulting for them, and I said, listen, we've got so far so good, but we've got another 1 to 3 inches on the way. Most of that will take until Thursday, take through Thursday the fall. But if we see heavier rainfall, we may get to that 3-inch threshold a little faster. So where we get to about 3 inches is where we're going to start to see some flooding. In fact, this is the flash flood guidance. And this is what we've had since 12Z yesterday's. This is over 24 hours. You can see Franklin County here. We've had about an inch to 1.5 inches of rainfall. I've had about 0.91 since midnight. Floyd County's had 2 to 2.5 inches since yesterday morning. Look at Southside, though. This is the area I'm watching, and this is where our flash flood warnings are being issued right now in the North Carolina. These areas down through Nash County and Franklin and Warren and Vance County, south of South Hill, have seen upwards of 5 to 6 to even up to 8 inches of rain there, and that pixel there in the red. Now, that diminished as it moved north. But it's still adding up here through Gretna and South Boston. You've had between 2 and 2.5 inches of rain just since yesterday. So over the next hour, how much rain can we get? Now, this is the part you want to pay attention to if you've been kind of nodding off. We can actually take another 1.5 to 2 inches per hour of rainfall in this green area. So it would have to pour down rain, but it could. If it rains at rates over an inch an hour, you're going to see flash flood warnings be issued. Right now, I'm at 0.1 inches an hour to give you an idea of how much it's raining. So it would have to rain 10 times heavier than it is now to flood, to give you an idea. But in the mountainous areas here, Floyd County, Craig County, and the Roanoke, it only needs to rain at about half an inch an hour to give us flooding. So they are twice as vulnerable to flash flooding right now in these yellow areas through Craig County, Covington. Allegheny County is a big spot that stands out to me. I think this will update through Roanoke County. We'll see because they had so much rain Sunday. Now, we can also look at 6 hours. So if you look at the next 6 hours, if it rains 2.5 to 3 inches, it will flood. However, in the green areas, that's in the light blue, in the green areas here in the mountains, it, if it gets to about 1 to 1.5 inches in 6 hours, it will flood. Still seems a little out of the range of what we're dealing with right now. The rain's not that heavy. But now over the next 12 hours, let's look at that. You get the data cuts off here, and I'm not sure why. But anyway, if you look around at where the cutoff is, through most of the area, we can take about 1 to 1.5 inches of rain over the next 12 hours. And if you look at our forecast of 3 inches of rain over the next 48 hours, that's getting pretty close. So if it continues to rain, moderately enough, and then you look at 24 hours here, much the same, about 1.5 to 2 inches over the next 24 hours. If we're expecting up to 3 inches of rain through Thursday, if we get most of that rain tomorrow, we are going to start to see some problems. And so there could be some isolated problems again today. This is the 5-day rainfall. And we've had 3 inches in yellow, up to 4 to 5 inches in the darker yellow. Halifax County, Southern Botetourt County. We're going to start to see some problems. We're not seeing anything widespread right now, but I did want to give you a heads up that the rain did pick up overnight and that we've got some more of it spiraling in. So the area that I'm going to be watching, again, is going to be right through here, through Southside, north of Danville, south of Lynchburg, maybe up and into Roanoke and the Franklin County as well, because you put that in motion and the trajectory continues to feed moisture in out of the Tar Heel State and into southern South Central Virginia. Now you can see the upper level low there too also pivots. Now, let me tell you one more thing here. On my Twitter, you're going to get a lot of auto posting because when I have to do all this, there are like 16 things going on behind me. That doesn't include what I have to put out on television. We've got a live morning show here coming up at 7 a.m. I'm going to be in the director's seat for miking up people and switching cameras. So there's a lot that I do behind the scenes that requires me to have a lot of auto posting. One of those accounts that I auto post is our friends at the National Weather Service in Blacksburg, who work tirelessly around the clock to put out updates. And lots of times they do not get credit for that because they work for the government. And so their products don't have a name on them like they would with what I'm doing there. You see my Jamie's forecast there on the screen. I got to tell you, they're some of the smartest people that I know. They're getting smarter as they bring in fresh faces and things like that, more research. It's pretty neat to see. It's amazing actually how they do their warning process and their research and their forecasting process. And we even disagree on forecasting sometimes, but we're all in this together. What I wanted to say is that you're going to see some auto tweets, and I put out a tweet earlier, and this is going to be from the National Weather Service in Blacksburg. It's going to look like I tweeted it, but you can tell what I tweet and what you can't tweet, hopefully. And they have a different style. And I've talked to their warning coordination meteorologist. Phil's a great guy about that. I'm going to try to figure out a way to give them more credit when that's done. So anyway, just giving you a little disclosure on that and the reason why I do that. I'm not out to undermine what they do. I'm out to push what they put out. I don't have a way to just put out the warnings. It will also post any little tidbits they share. But I don't want that on all the time. In other words, once this rain that we've got this morning ends, it'll pop off. I'll turn it off. It's just a simple retweet program, and unfortunately it doesn't allow me to give the credit where the credit's due. So I'm inserting the credit now, basically, is what I'm doing. So sorry for rambling on that, but I wanted to kind of let you know. So anyway, watching the radar picture carefully. And again, we've got flash flooding. So if your plans do take you down this morning to the Raleigh-Durham area, watch for the high water there. And you can again see the orange here. So this area, yeah, needs to be watched. One thing I am watching too is, look at the area here. This is the area that had up to 4 to 5 inches of rain Sunday night. They've had time for a lot of that to run off because the rain hasn't been too hard. But with this rain now coming in through Alta Vista and South Boston, it's moderate rain. It's not tremendously heavy rain, but there are some heavier patches in, as I say that, up 29 here and coming out of South Boston. It looks like we've got some heavier patches there near Brookneal on 501. So we'll have to watch it. Alta Vista, Timberlake, and I'll be watching this morning again. Getting the rain back toward Pulaski now. I told you that would be an area to watch. So I'll try to post all the alerts, and if they come out, and give you some radar updates. I want to shout out my sponsor, Seal Tight Basement Waterproofing Company. And what a great sponsor to have. Guys, please give them a call. Numbers there on your screen. You can give them a call and tell them that you saw it on here, on my page, and they will continue to support me because that costs money, and I have to be able to do my alerts. I've also got a Patreon blog up, and you can contribute to that for $1 a month on some of my inside thoughts on what I think is going to happen today. So anyway, hey Carmen, I'm about to jump off here for right now. Got to get the show ready. May jump back on before 7 if things get bad enough, but just be careful out there. Stay weather aware.